Have you ever noticed how the more comfortable life becomes, the weaker we often feel? Think about it. We live in a time where food arrives at our door without effort, where entertainment is one click away, where we can avoid almost every form of inconvenience with technology. At first glance, this sounds like progress, but here is the unsettling question. If everything is easier, why do so many of us feel emptier, more restless, and strangely fragile? Picture a late evening. You sit on your couch scrolling endlessly through your phone, a warm drink in hand, no real hardship pressing on you. It feels nice, even safe. Yet inside there is a gnawing sense of stagnation, as though your life is slowly being drained of meaning. That quiet discomfort that whispers, "Is this all there is?" Most of us know that feeling too well, though we rarely talk about it. The truth is, comfort is seductive. It promises relief from effort, from risk, from uncertainty. And yet, like a soft poison, it slowly weakens our ability to face the real struggles that shape us into stronger, wiser, more capable human beings. What if the very thing we spend our lives chasing, the absence of hardship, is what is silently stealing our vitality? This tension lies at the heart of an ancient insight. Aristotle once warned that the good life is not found in indulgence or ease, but in the pursuit of excellence through effort. The Greeks had a word for this, arete, human flourishing through virtue. But virtue, in their view, is forged not in pleasure, but in trial. So here is the paradox we begin with. The life of ultimate comfort may feel safe, but it robs us of the inner strength we secretly long for. The more we cushion ourselves from challenge, the more fragile we become when life inevitably tests us. If this resonates with you, stay with me. Over the next few minutes, we will explore why the pursuit of comfort often ends in weakness, how hidden strength can be rediscovered, and what ancient wisdom can teach us about living with depth in a world obsessed with ease. And before we go further, I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever felt that the moments of greatest growth in your life came not from comfort, but from hardship? Share your story in the comments. And if this reflection already strikes a chord, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can walk this path together. What if the very struggles you try to avoid are the ones holding the key to your strength? Imagine, for a moment, a version of yourself that has stopped running from discomfort. Instead of choosing the shortcut, you lean into the harder path. Instead of fearing difficulty, you embrace it as the training ground of your soul. What kind of person would you become? Picture your daily life under this new lens. Instead of hitting snooze 3 times, you rise with determination, even when the bed whispers for you to stay. Instead of numbing your anxiety with endless scrolling, you confront your thoughts. You sit with them. You wrestle with them until clarity emerges. Instead of avoiding that difficult conversation, you walk straight into it, trembling maybe, but courageous. Can you see how different your days would feel? Not easier, but fuller, richer in weight and meaning. Aristotle taught that happiness, what he called eudaimonia, is not a fleeting emotion but the result of living in harmony with virtue. In practice, this means our deepest joy doesn't come from comfort at all, but from realizing our potential through action. Hardship, then, is not our enemy. It is the very soil in which strength, patience, and wisdom grow. Now imagine the alternative, a life where every difficulty is avoided, every risk is softened, every challenge is postponed. In that world, your muscles weaken, not just physically but spiritually. Your courage shrinks. Your tolerance for frustration diminishes. Soon, even the smallest inconveniences feel unbearable. Isn't this, in some way, what many of us are living already? A fragile existence disguised as safety. But here's the empowering truth. Discomfort is not something to be feared. It is something to be used. Like a blacksmith's fire, it has the power to shape us, if only we stop escaping it. Viktor Frankl, reflecting on human resilience, once said that suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds meaning. Perhaps the question we should be asking is not, how can I avoid discomfort? But, what strength is discomfort trying to awaken in me? So let me ask you, if you stopped resisting the small discomforts of life, what kind of strength might begin to emerge in you? Take a moment to picture it vividly. That vision of yourself is not a fantasy. It is a possibility waiting for your courage. We have been taught to believe that comfort is the reward of progress, the ultimate goal of modern life. Everything around us whispers the same promise. Work hard now so you can one day relax, retire, and live without effort. But here is the uncomfortable truth. A life of endless comfort is not a dream. It is a trap. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Chances are it was not while lying on the couch binge-watching a series or ordering food delivery for the third time that week. No, the moments you remember with pride, the ones that shaped you, were marked by challenge. Maybe it was finishing a project you thought was impossible, enduring heartbreak and finding resilience, or facing fears that once seemed unbearable. Those moments left scars, yes, but also strength. The illusion of comfort is that it frees us, but in reality it chains us to weakness. By removing friction, it robs us of the very experiences that carve depth into our souls. It sells us a counterfeit version of peace, numbness, disguised as safety. And the cost is immense, a fragile spirit, easily broken by life's inevitable storms. Aristotle would argue that true flourishing is impossible without struggle. Virtue, in his philosophy, is not inherited, it is built, just like a muscle. And just as muscles atrophy when unused, so too does our character decay when left untested. The pursuit of ease, then, is not neutral. It actively erodes our ability to endure and to grow. We must confront this disruptive insight. Comfort is not always a blessing. Often it is the slow erosion of our inner strength. The more we avoid discomfort, the more incapable we become of handling reality. This is why so many people today collapse under the weight of minor frustrations. They have been trained by comfort to expect a frictionless life. Let's be honest, the comfort we crave is not what we need. What we need is meaning, and meaning only reveals itself through responsibility, through challenge, through the willingness to step into discomfort. So ask yourself, what part of your life has become too comfortable, too easy, too padded against reality? And what might happen if instead of retreating you chose the path of resistance? The answer may disrupt your assumptions, but it could also set you free. To understand why comfort weakens us, let us return to one of the greatest minds of the Western tradition, Aristotle. For him, the question of how to live well, how to achieve eudaimonia or human flourishing, was central, and his answer was striking. The good life is not found in pleasure or ease, but in the cultivation of virtue through disciplined action. Aristotle saw human beings as potential in motion. Just as an acorn is not yet an oak tree but carries within it the possibility of becoming one, each of us holds within our nature the possibility of greatness. Yet possibility alone is not enough. It must be actualized through effort, choice, and practice. And here lies the paradox. Comfort resists this process. It tempts us to remain acorns, never reaching for the sky. Virtue, in Aristotle's view, is not an abstract ideal. It is a habit formed through repeated actions, often uncomfortable ones. Courage is born by facing fear, not avoiding it. Patience grows through frustration, not through instant gratification. Temperance emerges by resisting excess, not indulging it. In other words, the very qualities that make life meaningful require discomfort as their training ground. This insight is echoed centuries later by Viktor Frankl, who observed that meaning often arises in moments of suffering, not in pleasure. Both thinkers, separated by millennia, converge on the same truth. A life insulated from hardship is a life deprived of growth. Consider how this plays out today. We live in an age obsessed with convenience. Apps deliver food in minutes. Algorithms entertain us endlessly, and machines replace human effort. And yet depression, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of emptiness are at record highs. Could it be that in our pursuit of ease we have cut ourselves off from the very struggles that give depth and resilience to our existence? Aristotle would warn us, by choosing comfort above all else, we are not choosing happiness. We are choosing fragility. We are mistaking temporary pleasure for lasting fulfillment. The human spirit was not designed for endless ease, but for the noble struggle of becoming more than we are. So here's the challenge. If Aristotle is right, then the question is not whether life should be comfortable, but whether we are willing to endure the discomfort necessary to become fully alive. And that is a question only you can answer. Most of us do not consciously choose fragility. We do not wake up and decide, "Today I want to be weaker." Yet, little by little, in the name of comfort, we shape a life that leaves us unprepared for reality. The danger lies in the subtle, invisible patterns that quietly dominate our days. Think about the small choices. Instead of walking, we drive, even for short distances. Instead of cooking, we order food that arrives hot at the door. Instead of engaging in meaningful but demanding conversations, we retreat to the glowing safety of a screen. Each decision seems harmless, but together they form a rhythm of avoidance. Over time, these patterns condition us to expect life without friction. But life is never without friction. That is why so many people today feel overwhelmed by what used to be ordinary challenges: waiting in line, facing criticism, enduring silence, committing to long-term goals. These once basic human experiences now feel intolerable. Why? Because we have trained ourselves to see inconvenience as an offense rather than as the natural texture of existence. This quiet erosion of resilience often goes unnoticed until crisis strikes. Suddenly we are faced with illness, loss, failure, or rejection, and we discover to our horror that we have no inner strength to draw from. Like a house built on sand, our carefully padded life collapses in the storm. Aristotle would remind us that the purpose of daily life is not the avoidance of struggle but the practice of virtue. Every inconvenience, every difficulty, is a hidden opportunity to exercise patience, courage, and perseverance. When we avoid them, we avoid growth. When we embrace them, we turn life itself into a school of character. The invisible pattern, then, is not the presence of comfort, but our dependence on it. Comfort becomes a silent tyrant when it dictates our choices, numbing us into passivity. Recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming strength. So let me ask you directly, what invisible habits in your own life are quietly stealing your resilience? Where have you unknowingly chosen ease over growth? To see these patterns clearly is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also liberating. Because once you notice them, you can begin to break them. There are moments when a simple phrase can strike deeper than 1,000 explanations. Sometimes, what we need is not another argument, but a sentence that stays in our mind like a sharp echo, refusing to leave us untouched. So let us pause and put this truth into words that cannot be ignored. Comfort is not freedom. Comfort is dependency disguised as peace. Ease does not make you strong. Ease makes you fragile. The more you avoid discomfort, the less you can bear reality. A soft life creates a soft soul. Do these words sting? They should, because they reveal what we often prefer to hide. Behind the pursuit of comfort lies not strength, but a quiet surrender. And in that surrender, we lose ourselves, not all at once, but gradually, in tiny compromises. Aristotle would insist that virtue is never born in ease. No one becomes courageous by staying safe. No one learns temperance by indulging endlessly. No one develops wisdom by avoiding difficulty. Each virtue is a scar, earned by walking through fire. And here is the paradox. While comfort makes life easier in the moment, it makes us weaker in the long run. Discomfort, on the other hand, feels unbearable in the moment, but in time it shapes us into someone we respect. Which would you rather live with? Momentary ease or lasting dignity? Viktor Frankl once wrote that those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. His words remind us that strength is not found in eliminating hardship, but in carrying it with purpose. If you know why you are enduring, you can endure almost anything. So let me leave you with this. Write one of these sentences somewhere you will see it every day. Let it disturb you. Let it challenge you. And the next time you feel the pull of comfort calling you to choose the easy way out, remember, comfort offers you nothing but the slow death of your potential. Discomfort offers you life. Here is a paradox that at first seems absurd. The harder your life is, the stronger you become. And the easier your life is, the weaker you feel. On the surface, this sounds cruel, as though struggle is some kind of punishment. But the truth is the opposite. Struggle is not a curse. It is the condition for growth. Think of it in physical terms. A muscle only grows when it is placed under tension, when it is forced to push against resistance. Without that stress, it atrophies. The same principle applies to the soul. Without challenge, without difficulty, without the weight of responsibility, our inner muscles shrink. We become spiritually fragile, unprepared for the inevitable storms of life. But here is the twist. Most of us spend our lives trying to escape precisely the experiences that could make us stronger. We avoid confrontation to protect our peace, but in doing so, we lose courage. We avoid discomfort to protect our bodies, but in doing so, we lose resilience. We avoid risk to protect our sense of security, but in doing so, we lose the thrill of becoming fully alive. The paradox deepens. The more we chase comfort, the more restless we become. Ease does not satisfy, it hollows us. But the more we embrace difficulty with purpose, the more grounded and alive we feel. Hardship, strangely enough, is what restores dignity. This is what Aristotle meant when he insisted that virtue lies in action, not in avoidance. Virtue does not appear when life is smooth. It appears when life resists us and we choose to act nobly anyway. Dostoevsky echoed this when he wrote that man is sometimes extraordinarily, passionately in love with suffering. Why? Because suffering, when faced with meaning, becomes the crucible of transformation. So we arrive at a new way of seeing. Ease and struggle are not opposites, they are intertwined. Too much ease creates fragility. Too much struggle, without meaning, creates despair. The secret is not to eliminate struggle, but to carry it with purpose, to let it forge us rather than crush us. Ask yourself, which paradox are you living right now? Are you chasing ease and finding emptiness? Or are you embracing struggle and discovering strength? The answer will reveal more about your soul than you might expect. If all of this sounds demanding, it is because it is. Yet we must remember, the path of discomfort is not only about endurance. It carries with it a profound reward. The paradox of struggle is that what feels unbearable in the moment often becomes the source of our deepest satisfaction later. Think back to any achievement you are truly proud of. Did it come easily? Or did it demand sweat, patience, maybe even sleepless nights and sacrifice? The pride you feel today is directly proportional to the pain you endured then. Without discomfort, there would be no sense of accomplishment, only the hollow sweetness of instant gratification, quickly forgotten. This is why Aristotle believed that happiness is not pleasure but fulfillment, the flowering of one's potential through virtue. The reward of living this way is not a life free of problems, but a life filled with meaning. And meaning brings with it a kind of joy that comfort alone can never offer. There is also a practical reward: resilience. Every time you endure something hard, you build an invisible reservoir of strength that will serve you when life becomes truly unbearable. When illness, betrayal, or loss strike, as they inevitably will, you will not collapse as easily because your soul has been trained. You will have become someone capable of standing firm when others fall. And there is one more reward, perhaps the greatest of all: self-respect. There are few feelings as crushing as looking in the mirror and knowing you have betrayed yourself by choosing the easy way out. Likewise, there are few joys as profound as realizing you have endured, you have grown, you have become more than you were yesterday. This quiet dignity cannot be bought, it cannot be given, it must be earned through discomfort. So, yes, the path is demanding, but it is not cruel, it is generous. It offers you the chance to become whole, to live with depth, to wake up each morning not with the shallow thrill of ease, but with the deep satisfaction of knowing you are living as you were meant to. Let me ask you, what would your life feel like if you began to see every discomfort not as a punishment, but as a gift preparing you for something greater? That shift in perspective may be the first step toward the reward you have been searching for all along. To bring all these threads into clarity, we need a framework, a way of seeing that connects philosophy, psychology, and daily life. Without it, the call to embrace discomfort can feel like vague moralizing. With it, the path becomes concrete and livable. Aristotle offers us the foundation, the pursuit of eudaimonia, human flourishing through virtue. Virtue, in his vision, is not an abstract ideal, but a set of habits formed through action. Courage, patience, temperance, justice. Each is practiced like an art, refined through repetition. Discomfort is not an obstacle here. It is the training ground where these virtues are forged. Viktor Frankl adds another layer. He reminds us that meaning is discovered when we take responsibility for our response to suffering. Life, he says, is never made unbearable by circumstances alone, but by lack of meaning. When we stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "For what purpose?" discomfort becomes a doorway to significance rather than despair. To this, we can add the insight of Dostoevsky, who saw that human beings crave not just pleasure, but dignity. Too much ease suffocates us because it denies us the struggle that gives life weight. In his novels, those who suffer meaningfully often emerge more human, more alive, than those who insulate themselves in luxury. This framework leads us to a practical conclusion. Growth is not accidental, it is cultivated. And the soil of cultivation is discomfort. When we choose the path of effort over ease, responsibility over avoidance, honesty over convenience, we are not just toughening ourselves, we are shaping our character. And character is the one possession that no circumstance can strip away. Seen this way, discomfort ceases to be an enemy. It becomes a teacher, relentless but wise, constantly inviting us to rise. The question is not whether life will bring us hardship. It always will. But whether we will use that hardship to become more. So here is the framework in its simplest form. Comfort breeds fragility, discomfort builds virtue, and virtue leads to flourishing. That is the arc, the hidden order beneath our experiences. Reflect on your own life for a moment. Where are you right now in that arc? Are you clinging to comfort and feeling restless? Are you in discomfort and tempted to escape? Or are you beginning to sense that, through discomfort, something in you is quietly being forged into strength? The answer will tell you exactly where you stand on the path to becoming who you are meant to be. We have walked together through a difficult truth. The comfort we often chase is the very thing that weakens us, while the struggles we try to escape are the ones shaping us into who we are meant to become. Aristotle, Frankl, and even Dostoevsky all point to the same reality. Ease may soothe us for a moment, but it cannot give us depth. Only discomfort, carried with purpose, has the power to forge character. So let me speak to you directly. The next time life places an obstacle in your path, resist the reflex to run. Pause. Ask yourself, what strength is this moment trying to awaken in me? Instead of seeing inconvenience as an enemy, see it as the blacksmith's fire, shaping you into something greater. Every small choice matters. Rising when you want to sleep, listening when you want to interrupt, speaking truth when silence feels safer. Each act of resistance to comfort is a seed of strength planted within your soul. Remember, the goal is not a life without struggle. That is impossible, and if we are honest, undesirable. The goal is to live with the kind of strength that allows you to face struggle without breaking, to endure suffering without losing meaning, to live not in the shallow waters of ease but in the deep currents of purpose. This is not easy. It was never meant to be. But that is precisely what makes it beautiful. Because at the end of your days, what will give you peace is not how comfortable your life was, but how much you grew, how much you loved, and how much you became fully yourself. So I leave you with this invitation. Step beyond ease. Choose the path that demands more of you, and watch how life, in return, begins to reveal more of itself. Now I want to hear from you. Share in the comments. What is one area of your life where you sense you've been choosing comfort over growth, and how could you begin to change that today? Let's turn this space into a community of people who choose meaning over ease. If this message stirred something in you, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join me on this journey of building strength through wisdom. Because together, we can learn to live not for comfort, but for character.